Hello all, Alison here. Welcome back to Words and Pictures for some tag time. Sometimes a background is not the most exciting thing in the world. These are a couple of the tags from the shimmering stenciling episode, spritzing, spraying one we did. I'll link it in the description below if you missed that. And they weren't my favourites from the session. I mean, I love that little hint of shimmer they've got, but you know, it's not particularly exciting me as a space to play. So sometimes the virtue of this is that it just gets rid of that blank page syndrome when you're sort of sitting there thinking, oh, what the heck shall I do? So even a background that at first sight you don't necessarily love can just be the starting point for a bit of playtime, and that's what I've got today. As you can see, the desk is strewn with things that I'm thinking I might want to add. And because quite a few of them are sort of quite bulky or 3D or heavyweight, I have already mounted these tags onto some waste cardboard, just glued it down. And yeah, I will, let's stick the hole through now. So that's just the blade of the scissors. I could do that officially with a sort of proper hole punch, but frankly, who's got the time to dig for that in a box somewhere? So a pair of scissors does the job just as well. Ready for some twine to go through there. So I thought I've got these Tim Holtz tissue papers, collage tissue papers, which are grand. Obviously I've got my own tissue paper as well, the PaperArtsy printed tissue, but I was just thinking of starting with adding some bits of this to the mix, just so there's something extra going on. And I don't really think too hard at this stage. I just want to get it on there rather than gluing onto the sparkle spritz, which is probably going to make it shift around if I do that. I'm just going to put my glue onto the tissue paper itself. I think was sort of my thought that might be a better way around to go. So yeah, just spreading some glue on. This is the Distress Collage medium, but any soft gloopy glue, yeah, don't mind that, because I think that's probably going to drop off the bottom. It's a little bit mucky and messy, and I've got little bits of glue on my mat now, but I just want to get another layer down onto the tag. And you can see, because the tissue paper is moist, you get that lovely translucence of being able to see what's behind. We'll get that off when we're cleaning up. I might just soften the edge of this here. I'm thinking the same about that bit there. Maybe while it's still wet, I can just adjust that very straight line. Maybe I can't. Oh, look, a fingernail does the job. Just scraping some of that away so it's less sort of in my eye as a straight line. And let's get this. So that's bottom corner. You know where this is going? Top corner. And then I'm going to have to stick the hole through again, but that's all fine. I just wanted to remind myself that hole was there. So yeah, there's glue on the mat now, so some of that is sticking to the glue on the mat. So I'll be a little bit gentle as I peel that up, just to make sure we don't lose it all. Let's pop that down there. And again, I'm expecting this to vanish quite a long way into the background, really. It's just, again, a way to diminish the blank page and just kind of go, this is a background, it doesn't matter, it's fine. My whole game is going to be building layers on top of this, so I'm just putting a little extra bit of moisture over the top. That's just sealing that in, and I'm thinking I'm probably going to slightly gesso over things anyway, so it really doesn't matter. That's a gluey brush. Let's put it in there. I don't know where the word gun came from in all that. That's an interesting little slip of the tongue. Let's not think about that too closely, shall we? Right, so one way of getting this off would be obviously to trim it with the scissors, but another way is just to take a bit of sandpaper and sand backwards from the surface, and then you get a really clean cut without having to worry about it. That's damp there, and that's very old. These are the PaperArtsy sanding blocks, and they're great, but that one's really past its best, so let's grab the new one rather than the old one. I think that probably is done. It's really worn away if you look at the grain of it compared to that one. And then round here. This would be even quicker if I waited till the tissue paper was fully dry. But again, it's a bit of tag time, a bit of playtime. Why hang around? There we go. So that's given us a little bit of extra fun on the tag. I'm thinking of using, I've got some digi images here printed out from Art House Whimsy. I think it's called the Vintage Photo Collection or some such. Again, details will be down below of the things I'm using in this episode. And yeah, I was thinking of, I don't know, there are twigs lying around and wooden things and metal things. And yeah, I just rather liked these vintage people. I know you can do funky things with digi images and inlay them in pages and blah, blah, blah. I'm an old-fashioned kind of a crafter. I printed them out. I'm going to cut them out and I'm going to use them. Quite like these boys, actually. What else was I thinking? Oh, I've got these window frames. I thought they might be quite nice, sort of jutting out a little bit. Maybe there. That one's a bit chunky. There's another one in here that I'd like better. What about you? Light and dark. That's always a favourite game of mine, of course. Contrasting light and dark. And then I'm thinking maybe a windowsill of wood. That's some bits of bark that are off a project, another project I've been doing. Top secret at the moment, but it'll come to it. Thinking about maybe something like that. That could be quite fun, couldn't it? And then things can stand on those little jars, or maybe a light bulb. Got these fabulous light bulbs. I've also got lots of little light bulbs that a friend gave me. I think he was some sort of engineer or something, so he had all these teeny light bulbs, and I just went, yes, please. Where are they? Oh, hang on. Yeah, because they're a bit smaller, so they might be useful. I can see them out of the corner of my eye. I'm just going to go and grab them. Forgive me. Yeah, there we go. Little tray of little vintage light bulbs, and there. See, if you had two of, that way one can afford to have two light bulbs. A little bit of freebie and a little bit of craft spending, and you got double the bubble. I'm in two minds at the moment. Reason I haven't yet trimmed this to the size of the window is I'm quite enjoying that little bit sticking out extra. This one accidentally is pretty much exactly the right size for that window, which is a very happy accident. There's something about those light bulbs that's making me happy today. And then the other thing I was thinking, except it has to be the big one over here. I'm not sure this is a happy accident, partly because it's very narrow at this end. Got another bit here. Maybe if I snap that, give it a snip, can I get a nice windowsill? Just trimming some of this. I think these bark sheets were ones I bought quite a long time ago. This again was a gift from that's a much larger sheet of really fabulously textured bark that a friend here in the Czech Republic gave me. She was clearing out crafty kind of things. Have I done that wrong? No, there we go. Something like that. Something like that. Twigs are maybe growing up through the windows. This is wintry and kind of, I'm not sure I'm even going to get to the images. There's something really rather evocative about that. It's still only February. I mean, you may be watching this, I don't know, in July for all I know. But here, right now, as I'm filming it, actually, it's not February, is it? It's January. I'm getting ahead of myself. It's because I'm already deep in planning for February. I've got trips and craft fairs and things coming up. So my brain has has gone February, but it is actually still January at the moment, thankfully, because the to-do list before I go away is still quite long. Okay, let's have a look at one of these pictures laid on. Because they're printed only on copy paper, that's not great quality, obviously, so I'm almost certainly going to glue them down onto some cardboard, waste cardboard. As I was saying, I like the boys, but there's also something very good about some of these women. I quite like her. This is now going to take a slightly eerie turn because the expression in her eyes is quite ferocious. So I'm just cutting her out. That's all. Don't really need to do that on camera. I think you can probably cut paper. This would be easier, of course, with the longer shears, because then I don't need to worry about straight lines. I just do one snip and we're done. So I'm thinking she's quite good. Don't want to cover up that whole window, so maybe the windowsill is going away now. Except I do love the windowsill. Maybe I can get the best of both worlds. Let's get us another person first. There's boys, there's another good woman for looking out of a window. These ones who are outside, I'm not sure that makes as much sense, but we could have a look at one, because I like those as well. I like both of those. I like her. Let's see. Let's have you two, just to have a look at a slightly more distant photo. I don't know if I want the head that close up or not. Crossways, down-a-ways. Sorry, off camera again, but again, it is just cutting of paper that's going on at the moment. Snip her. Yeah, I do quite like both close-ups. Let's have a look at not a close-up. I think that's got more impact, hasn't it, with the boldness of the windows and those light bulbs. I think that's got a little bit more oomph, a little bit more presence. But let's have another one from a distance. Which one? Do we want a boy? No, I think I'm on the women now. Yeah, quite like this one here. With attitude. Definitely got attitude, this one here. Yeah, and then if I mount them on cardboard, they're going to have a kind of, a bit more presence and a bit more sturdiness, because this is, as I say, just printer paper. But they're also going to have that ability to sit forward of the window without flopping and flapping around. Looking, wondering, take them away, see what we think of the other version. Looking, wondering. I think I'm finding that a bit in your face. Let's go back to that. I'm wondering what happens if we put them inside the windows rather than over the top of the windows. I think that's going to bother me because it can't be fully under the window, or we're going to lose her face, and also you are going to see, whatever happens, you're going to see something of the background through the window as well as the picture. But maybe that is quite good. It's a little bit creepy, isn't it? That allows me to have my windowsill back, and maybe that goes up there. It's like a light bulb and a looking out and a tree on the outside, maybe. I think I might be sold on that, you know. Yeah, let's work with that as a rough idea. I'm going to do a little bit of stamping into this background as well, and it'll be an echo of these lovely twiggy things. Let's pop you. Actually, I might just go with it. I might remove my ability to choose anymore and glue these onto their windows. I do want her face fully in that little corner. Yeah, good. Okay, let's do it. So I'm just going to go on the window frame itself rather than gluing on her. Oh, I was going to glue her onto back, but then no, because if she's glued direct to the tag, that'll be fine. That'll be fine. She doesn't need to go on cardboard in that case. So let's just, to hold her in place for now, do that. Can't change my mind now. Well, I could rip her off and go and reprint her and la 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 la, but I don't think that's happening. A little bit further to the left. Can't do much sliding because there's now glue on the papers. That's quite good. A little bit sticking out the bottom. Yep, good. Okay, and then you top, bottom. Yeah, okay, so it's the same thing. It's actually to the corner of the frame. And again, I'm just going to do this to hold her in place while we're still playing, because it's just going to make it easier to move one whole element rather than trying to slide the photo and the window frame around all the time. And I quite like now that you get a bit of background also around those windows. That's going to be there, maybe. That's going to be there, maybe. Yeah, the light inside and the branches outside makes sense. But I want some of my winter grasses. So these are EAB 42 winter grasses, and I just thought this would be a nice thing to amplify the idea of the branches and the sort of wintry look of things outside. So let's have you, and let's do it in, I think probably potting soil is good, because again I just want it slightly neutral. I don't really need a lot of stuff going on. This is an extra in the background over there. Ha ha ha. And you know what I need to grab very rapidly is my primary bark embossing powder, because having done that, I want it to have some more presence. Here's hoping that glue is dry. Not going to be, is it? Let's see. Ha, just about dry enough. Yeah, there are little patches, but if I take a fine brush, always doing this, you'll have noticed, forgetting that there's going to be a wet patch underneath, but it is possible to just knock back those little extraneous bits of powder, and I will dry the other tag before I stamp and emboss on it. Yeah, you'll notice I also didn't have a piece of paper nearby, so those women have been pressed into action to catch the embossing powder. So before I stamp and emboss the next one, I will also find myself a piece of paper to do that with. Yeah, I'm going to heat emboss that in a second, but let's dry this. Well, we could sort of do both at the same time. Dry that and emboss that. I'll do that, and then I'll be back to carry on. There we go, stamped and embossed, and as well as going up the side, I did a little extra half stamping on each of those as well to get lots of that lovely twiggy, grassy, wintry stuff going on. There's quite a nice crackle sort of texture in here as well. It's actually wood grain, which would go well with the other wood grains, but I think for now I'm just going to keep going. I want, while I'm here, I'm going to put a bit of scorched timber around the base of this, just around this corner, so I'm not going all the way around the tag. I want to create a sort of shadow effect, so I'm going around two sides but not the other two sides, to get that sense of weight going down into those bottom corners. So that's amplifying, I guess, that sense of where the pressure, where the weight, or where the ground is, that scorched timber going on there. Let's pop these back on and take a look at where we've got to. We've still got the shimmer where it's not covered up by the tissue paper, because obviously the tissue paper mutes the shimmer, but we've still got that sparkly shimmer in places. And we've now, of course, also got the light catching qualities of that embossing powder, the bark, which is not a matte powder. It's, I love her sitting on that line there. I don't think we can get you on that line because that doesn't quite work out. That's good. That's good. Definitely slightly creepy. I don't think I want... Do I want that going right over the window like that? Maybe I do. Not once I've got the bulbs in place though. So let's put those in and just see whether that's really a thing. I do think there's something about the light in the window. I think that's a message I quite like. I'll take a bit off that. In fact, a bit more off that. Just so we've got a kind of windowsilly thing going on. And where's your windowsill got to? And can you afford the big light bulb, or is that too much? And the little vintage one. No, I think that's good. I'm really enjoying that barky windowsill. Yeah, I'm going to have to glue it down, aren't I? Because it's just going to keep falling over. It's just going to keep falling over. Yeah, gluing. Let's glue. Let's glue. I'm happy. I'm happy with where the windows are, so I can risk it. I'm going to go around here. Actually, I don't think I need to make... Oh, that's not... That's hanging off the tag in Nutter. Don't need that. There we go. This side. Question, do I not... I don't think I put glue on her at all. Again, I'm just thinking this is about the copy paper. And because that copy paper is quite thin, if I put liquid glue all over it, the risk is that we'll end up with... What I can do is glue across where the window frame is, because that you won't see. The risk is that that paper will wrinkle with the glue because it is quite flimsy. But because she's safely behind that window, I don't think anything's going to happen to her there. So same with this. I'm just going to put it on where there are window frame bits. I'm not going to glue on the paper other than that. And there's a crossbar here. So if that were to wrinkle, that would be fine. Up the side. Had a sudden moment of thinking I'd glued the wrong side of the window frame. So just sort of, yeah, there. Grand. So we keep enough of these other things that are going on. Not sure that got fully embossed, did it? It's fine. It's fine. There we go. Maybe there's a bit of embossing powder still on there, or maybe I can get a bit more embossing powder on there. That ink might still be wet, you never know. Yes, it is. Oh, and of course the one round the edge is as well. I expect there were people shouting at the screen, no, you inked the bottom. And that's where it's stuck, of course. But again, I can be quite bold about just knocking that away. I just want my flower stems, thank you. So cleaning away the embossing powder I don't want is a fairly straightforward task, as it happens on that particular occasion. There we are. Phew. And I did get some embossing powder onto those stems, which is great. Ooh, look, there's 14 grains of embossing powder worth saving. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. So let's just quickly heat emboss that. And yeah, I think we're sort of almost there. I'll glue down my windowsills. I'm just going to do that again with a line of this. Might even go so far as to glue down the bulbs, and then be back for some final twiggy decisions and some words, obviously. Back in a sec. I've zoomed in a little bit. I've glued down these windowsills, so they're drying as I'm doing this. I've been back to my twig store to pull out some more twigs because the ones I had weren't really doing the job for me. So we'll see if those are working. And first off though, I thought I'd just tarnish these a little bit more. They're slightly tarnished anyway. Quite tasty little vintage looking things, but the mushroom alcohol ink will just give us an extra little bit of kind of aging and weathering. We did this with one of the salvage dolls the other day, and I might put a little bit on these gold ones as well, just to tie them in. I don't want too much, I don't want complete coverage, and you can see I'm catching droplets here on the kitchen towel. It just gives you an extra little bit of vintage dirtiness, which I think is quite pleasurable. And then yeah, the gluing these down I think is going to be our trusty gloopy glue as opposed to the fine glue. So where's that? Might be okay to use the gloss one because hopefully none of it's going to show. If it does, it'll dry clear and it'll just be an extra little glint of shine if it's the gloss that might even deceive the eye into thinking that the bulb is glowing. We can but hope. I'm going to put a little bit just behind there and just down there because those are the places where it's going to make contact. Come out of the way. And the joy of the gloopy glue is that is held in position already. As long as I don't nudge it and mess with it, it's in. So I forgot that I'd zoomed in and I've now done that bit of gluing off camera. That's quite a lot of glue for a tiny bulb. It's going to take a while to dry, so I might just knock off a bit off the bulb itself because I don't think it's necessary. It'll hold in place. I trust this glue. I really trust this glue. And once it's dry, it's absolutely rock solid. So let's get you. And again, let's see, come here. The tarnished side is sort of there, so I'll put some on the back and just a little bit on the glassy bulb bit. Down it goes. That's really nice. And tarnished bit, sort of there-ish. And a little bit on the bulb. Something really pleasurable about that for me. And again, I'm not going to dive into necessarily what it is, but it's definitely doing something good in storytelling terms. These women trapped in their windows. So that's a good tree to have outside because it is both slender enough to not cover up the grasses too much, and also the positioning of the bits sticking out are not going straight across her face. This one coming forward quite a long way, I might just lose because I don't think we need it, and it's going to make storing the tag virtually impossible. That's a good one there. I like that. And how's this one here? Yeah, I like that. Let's just check them the other way around because that's sometimes a thing. The one you think goes one place actually works much better in the other place. But I think on this occasion we might be right. I really like this slightly more knobbly one. Have I got a slightly knobblier one that could go here? This is lovely, but again, it's very slender. How about that? If we were to trim you there. These are just twigs I pick up out on walks and bring them home to be craft supplies. That's quite good. That's quite good with a bit coming off the side and a bit going up the top. Will that one sit nicely? Yeah, we can even fake a bit. We can add a little extra little branch going off the side if we wanted, just to balance the one there. Do we want them at all? See, I think that winter grass is doing a great job in the background, but I think there's just something a little bit delicious about having the real thing as well. Or, so look at that, look at that. Yeah, now it looks bare. This is the thing when you add something, almost always, you'll go for the more, because when you take it away, it starts to look too bare. So yeah, I will try to identify where this is touching things so that I know where I want to put glue. It's sort of here on the window frame, it's at the very top there, and I can't even tell where it's touching here. I think it's right at the bottom. So it was at the top here, it was sort of on which bit of window frame? This bit of window frame here, and not many other places. So I'm gonna need to let that do some drying. Try not to fiddle too much. I'm going to clean up that bit of glue there because it only needs it under the branch itself. And let that do some drying before I trim off the bottom part. Oh, that's better with it going right past the frame. There we go. There we go. Okay, fingers crossed that'll be enough glue to keep it where it's landed. So this one is touching, oh dear, this one is touching up there. That's no good, I can't glue it to my craft mat. Will you go the other way round? Yes, and actually you lie down much better the other way round. Yeah, I think that's all right. And then it's touching almost all the way up. That's a very firm glue, unlike the other one. And even a bit on the back of there. And again, I'll let it dry before I come back and snip that. I may not even snip that actually. I quite like it going off to the side there. There we go. Nice, happy, creepy, eerie, wintry. They're not creepy, they're beautiful. They're sad women. Okay, something just shifted as I moved them then. They're not creepy, they're sad. With the light glowing or not glowing. Their light not being allowed to glow. There it is. Good. Having been distracted by the story that they suddenly started to tell me. Let's clear the decks a little bit and come back to look at some words. Back in a sec. I grabbed a couple of metal Idea-ology bits because I'm thinking maybe we want a little word plaque. Found, wish, wander and travel. If they're stuck behind the windows are no good. Story is good. Story and wish might be words that I pluck out of there. I've got little typed tokens that have similar things. Hope, dream, found. Lucky I don't think is in the story, but then I pulled out the clipping stickers in case of that, had a quick flick through, and I could hardly believe what caught my eye. So I don't think it was anything on the first page. I got to the second page. Is it the second page? I think, well, have I got, yeah. Something she wanted was quite good, I thought. Something she'd wanted, i.e. not to be stuck behind the window. She merely went on with life was the first one that my brain just went, yeah, that's really good. So I might pull that out right now because I think that's on the cards. She merely went on with life. Then I found, jumped out at me. I hope it'll jump out at me again. I don't think it was on this next one. We got to here, dreams of beauty was a possibility. She was free to follow her heart was the opposite of what we wanted. I think it's probably on this next page, maybe. Oh, where's it gone? See, you should really, when you see them, you've got to pull them out straight away. Because I saw, where is it? Next page? No. I don't think I got this far through before it turned up. Must be back a bit. I saw, not here, not here, not here, not here, not here, not here. This happens to me a lot. You see the exact thing, intent on behaving badly. I considered, but that took me back to when they were sort of creepy as opposed to stuck and sad. There it is. The intensity of her stare was here, so I'm grabbing it right now. The intensity of her stare, and then on the same page, looking out the window. I mean, seriously. She merely went on with life, looking out of the window, the intensity of her stare. So I'm looking for another. And again, with these clipping stickers, I quite like if I can balance both the colour tone, because you can see they come in browns and pinkishes and greens, all very subtle, neutral versions of those colours. But so these have all got a slightly greenish grey tone, which is grand. But I've got two with quite small font, and I'd really love to have another that has a slightly larger font, so that again, there's a balancing act or a connection. Love and abundance is not it. So I'm now, as I'm glancing down, looking for some final words. I'm sort of trying to keep an eye out for slightly larger font ones. Speak to my waiting heart. That's quite good. If she's waiting, waiting, it seems that she is always there. There it is. It seems that she is always there, looking out the window. Or it seems that she is always there, the intensity of her stare. No, that's too much like doggerel bad poetry. She dreamed beautiful dreams. I'm just having a quick look just to see that there isn't anything that beats. It seems that she is always there, but I think that's probably our choice. Mementos of lives lived is good. So these clipping stickers are brilliant. They are pulled out by Paula and Tim from actual books, which is why they're all different fonts and all slightly different shades of old paper. It seems that she is always there. She merely went on with life. The intensity of her stare. That's quite good. It seems that she is always there, looking out the window. I mean, seriously. And sometimes it takes a while, as you saw, but you almost always find the thing you're looking for. Yeah, so I'm going to add a bit of glue. They are stickers, obviously, but I've found over the years that it's worth just giving them a little bit of extra glue. Otherwise they can, over time, decide to peel up. It seems that she is always there, looking out the window. Could it be more apt? And I'm going to put a little bit of an outline around that to just give it more presence in the tag. So that'll be just a little bit of pen work at the very end. Let's pop you down here. I quite like it, actually. I think I quite like it over towards this side, and then I get a little, I don't cover up quite so much of my grasses. The intensity of her stare. Come on, stick down, you see what I mean? And particularly, it's particularly kind to help these stickers with a bit of glue if you're going over things like embossing powder. If you're going straight to paper, then the chances are they'll stay put. I'm almost never going straight to paper without there being something else that is in the way. And yeah, over glossy embossing powder or over texture, when you're sticking down these stickers, giving them a little bit of help is really quite a good thing to do. Let's go around here. Where there's bits of glue, that pen's not quite making contact, but it's good enough. I'm wondering about a little doodled outline around the whole tag. I'm going to have to think about that in a second. First I'll get this outlined. And it just has a way of both bedding those words into the tag, but also allowing them to pop out at us. It's like a sort of double bedding them in, popping them out when you just do that little outline. I don't think I do want to doodle around the edge, quite apart from anything else. Doodling down this side is going to be almost impossible. Those little doodle frames that I sometimes do. I think it's a little bit of white splatter and we might be done, just to make sure that I don't cover up those perfectly found words. I don't want them covered with spatter. I want to make sure I can continue to read them. So I'm just going to put some little bits of, there's little bits of paper just hanging around here. So I'm just going to protect my words from the spatter. There we go. That'll do the job. Grand. Ooh, I love them. And a little bit of twine in the top, of course, will also inevitably have to happen. I can't not. Because, as you'll see, the thing that happens for me when you go for that bit of spatter, so here's my scrabby splatter brush, a little bit of water into that paint, check it, not enough water, but I don't want too much because I don't want to go too much of a wash because then the white paint won't show up. No, that's going to be too runny and the white paint will dry so that you hardly see it. So I'm adding, oh, now I've got loads of paint, so I'll do something with that. I'll get that onto another tag to start it. Yeah, that's a better, viscosity is the word, isn't it? Viscosity. Oh, I was almost forgetting, these women are not the usual shiny photos that I'm used to working with, so I won't be able to wipe spatter off their faces afterwards. When I'm working with the, for instance, the Tim Holtz paper dolls or found portraits, those glossy finished photos, you can, and I always do, wipe any spatter off the actual faces. But these are just printed on copy paper, so that was well remembered. And what I particularly like to do is get a bit of spatter onto the bulb of the glass, of the light bulb, because it just, it pops that dimension of the glass. It makes it sort of more visible to the naked eye that there is glass there, which can sometimes not be completely immediately what one notices. Grand. There's maybe a little bit much over here, so I might try, even though she's on copy paper, to knock back a couple of those spats just to make them less prominent. And hopefully that should mean our words and our women, our words and our women are all safely protected and not with spatters in the eyes or over the tops of the words. I said I was going to do something with this paint, didn't I? Have we got a tag lying around? Have we got a piece of paper that could just do with, yeah, look, here's a bit of cheap watercolour card. And this will just create some texture so that were I to add inks and things over this piece of card later, there'll be places where the inks take and places where they won't because of the paint resist that is going to be on there. It's pretty much invisible to the naked eye, but it's going to create kind of nice texture, I think, when we come to play with that. I'll try to remember to do it on camera if and when I ever do it, because that'll just give you an idea of why I've bothered to do that, just mopping up that Snowflake Fresco paint. Grand. I'm going to dive in, as always, for a close-up of these, give you a chance to have a look at the dimension and the layers and those twigs sticking out. But thank you so much for your company, as always. If you've enjoyed this, do hit the thumbs up button, that helps me. Do leave comments or thoughts down below, that helps me. If you're not already subscribed, I would love it if you would join us for this creative journey. That always helps me. And yeah, as many times as you want to put this video on in the background and just let it play, even if you're not listening to it, that helps me too. Thanks so much for your company, and happy crafting all.